everyone, and welcome back to the Whalenerds podcast. This is episode number 92. My name is Slater, and I'm here with Adam and Caitlin.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
Slater,
Dude,
that's a cool cup you're drinking out of.
And it keeps it so cold.
It's a nice sticker on it too, or a nice embroidery. What do you call that?
Laser etching? I don't know.
Silk screen?
A stamp.
I think it's like
A logo.
No, you guys, it's not on there. It's like it's lasered.
It is?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't even feel it.
Cool.
I don't know how they did it, to be honest. I think it's science.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
they
it's
mixed a
science
couple
too.
metals together and bam.
Emulsifiers.
Yeah, they probably use them from
And to do the hand motion.
Synthesize.
Adam, do you even know where emulsifiers come from?
Slater, do you even have a rock in your nose?
I know where they come from.
Where'd it
Kelp.
come from?
That's the same thing they use to make toothpaste and beer.
Mm-hmm.
What beer uses kelp though? Like honestly,
I don't know. Google it. Maybe it's like a common thing in many beers.
a pint of Selkie. There's like one beer that uses kelp.
So Slater got his nose pierced, and I got
No,
a
I've
tattoo.
had my nose pierced.
Slater's had his nose pierced. Where the heck have you been?
Okay, but he got it again. He got it
No,
re-pierced.
I didn't. They just stuck a taper through it.
Oh,
I just put jewelry in it so that it would hold it open, and then I had to switch the jewelry out in like a week. I'm gonna be like longer.
You two are more high maintenance than I realized.
Adam, you should get your eyebrow pierced.
Should I get a
Like an eyebrow
septum?
pierced kind of guy.
No, not a chance.
And then do a lightning bolt through your other eye.
Just a piece of jewelry as the lightning bolt.
What is this podcast?
All
What are we talking about?
I
Anyways.
actually wrote a big long podcast for us, you guys, on the
You
docs.
did?
Yeah, so go ahead and log into it.
Oh. Well, okay, the whole reason why I brought up Slater's cup and then this like totally went off the rails was the swag is starting to arrive for Whalenerds Weekend. And since Slater lives in Monterey, he gets it all sent to his house.
So I'm gonna taste test everything.
Don't worry, he will not be taste testing the item that you receive.
I'm trying every one of those cups to make sure they're all
Gross. That's not very COVID friendly.
So one of the items in the swag bag is an aluminum cup, and Slater's drinking out of it. So for those of you that are Patreon subscribers, when you get the video version of the episode, you can kind of see it. But yeah, we have 8 spots left for Whalenerds Weekend, October 14, 15, and 16. If you would like to join us, we would love to have you on the trip. We're doing 3 6-hour whale watches with Blue Ocean Whale Watch, doing a cool lecture from some scientists at Minbari, and we're gonna have a good time. So, and you get a little swag bag from us, which is cool.
And guess
We're
what?
gonna see whales. What?
Oh, by the way, I just talked to Kate on the phone like 30 minutes ago, and I said, "Oh man, I hope we have really good weather all 3 days." She's like, "Don't worry, the trips are just gonna be awesome." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "I recorded
even
you saying
Kate's-
that. Now I'm gonna post it online."
Kate's manifesting it. We're manifesting it. It's gonna happen.
Shoot, I was gonna tell you guys something. Keep going, Kaylin. It'll come
Well,
back to me.
if you want to sign up for Whalenerds Weekend, you can do that through our website, which is thewhalenerds.com/trips, or you can just hit the book now button that's on any of the pages when you're looking at our website, thewhalenerds.com. And I also wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone, first of all, that signed up to support us through the trip and come and see us and see whales with us, but also our Patreon subscribers and anyone that rates and reviews the podcast anywhere that they listen to it or tells a friend about it. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support.
Yeah,
This is like
what?
This is like a couple of years of like hard work and like our ideas finally coming together. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, we're
Let
excited.
me tell you guys something. Let me tell you guys something about the guy that we're having do a lecture. His name is John. What is it?
John Ryan. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, for some
And
reason
he
I
has-
thought it was
All right,
John
tell me
Moore for a
something.
second.
John
let me
Moore.
tell you.
Is he your
I
uncle?
No, but there was a guy new named John Moore, and so that's why I got confused. Anyway, so John Ryan has 2 questions coming in hot because there was an earthquake today at 47:55 in the bay, like right around that area, and there was one like a week ago too. So I want to know if you
Wait, were you out during the earthquake?
No, no one was.
Oh, because
It's
it's
been
rough.
happening in the no, people were out today, which was cool, I guess. I don't know why they went out today, but yeah, so there was 2 earthquakes, and I'm very curious to see if he can like check them out for us. But I don't think they were as big as the one that we saw.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
mean,
think? Like the whales stopped
Oh
talking.
yeah,
when there's
I
an
guarantee they
earthquake?
went breach city for a second.
well, yeah, I wonder if they stopped vocalizing. I guess I didn't ask him that. He sent me the recording
yeah.
of the earthquake that day that we had.
But when
But
was it? Was it even in the? Well, I guess they've been vocalizing the whole summer. So,
yeah, but like, so remember the day that we were out and all the whales started breaching?
yeah,
John Ryan sent me the recording of the earthquake noise from the
I remember.
hydrophone.
Yeah, I remember listening to it.
But I guess I never really asked him if the
What the
whales
whales
were
were doing.
vocalizing
Yeah.
and if they stopped.
If you think about it, though, it was during the day, so they probably weren't anyways.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was so loud. They probably were, but not like it wasn't.
He has to have a recording of an earthquake at night, you would think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Dude, we need to like make a list of questions for him.
We do.
Yeah. I kind of want to just be able to like log into the hydrophone, to be honest, and just like rewind stuff a lot, you know. Which, by
Like,
the
yo,
way,
give us a job. We'll do some cataloging for
if you're
you.
a listener
That
and
would
you
be
listen to this
the,
podcast, I guarantee right this second when you're listening to this podcast, if you go to the Mbari, what is it, .org? Let me check real quick.
Yeah, I think it's membari.org/listening room.
/soundscape -listening room. But just Google Mbari and then listening room. It'll pop up. And I can guarantee right this second there'll be a humpback whale vocalizing.
Should I like play it on my phone into my speaker?
No, it's going off right now. I'm already playing it. It's crazy this time. I don't know if it's just because of time. Well, it's been like that for weeks, but
Yeah.
it's
At
been
night.
off. Yeah, it's been crazy. Even right now, I actually played it for the lady on my boat the other day, and I was like kind of expecting it to not have whales because we were out there, and no, they were still going off. So, which makes me think that like even though we see so many whales in the bay, there's got to be one that's just like laying down under the water for 20 minutes at a time. We don't see, you know?
Maybe.
Vocalizing. Unless they're just singing songs while they're swimming in circles, feeding on anchovies.
That's what I would do.
It sounds kind of far away, but they're definitely making noise.
Adam for sure would
Somebody
sing
once
songs.
told me the world's gonna. That's what I'd be singing if I was a whale.
And they'd all be like, please go over there.
Get some Smash Mouth up in
Have you
here.
ever thought about feeding in Alaska? Because you don't really fit into Monterey.
Should maybe take a jaunt up to British Columbia. This seems like more your speed.
Y'all are mean.
Yeah, so I mean, I really do think we should make a list for John Ryan though, and we may end up trapping him there for an extra hour because we're gonna have so many questions for him. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. He's also gonna like melt your faces off with like noise because he's gonna bring his own like big subwoofer like he did for ACS Monterey.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna like rock the bird room at the PG Museum of Natural History. So,
I love him already.
yeah. And then he also has a graduate student coming with him, Will Ostrick. So they're gonna do like a co-presentation.
I just watched the video that Will Ostrick was in.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that one? Except apparently it was old. Apparently I'm late to the game.
So I think we finished all the host updates.
Yep.
Let's hit him with some sightings, Adam. Go first.
Oh, I'm going first. Ooh, I got some juicy stuff, y'all. Okay, so what's been happening?
I'm out.
It's so juicy. What do you mean? Okay, so it's been like humpback whale city central, right? Humpbacks every day, like 20 of them, pound. They're everywhere. Super cool. Been seeing some that we recognize. They've been everywhere. It's awesome. A bunch of dolphins, bunch of common dolphins. Like a week ago.
You were there for.
I was about to say that. All right, mother trucker.
Whoa, dude. Whoa. It's a family podcast.
Okay, so like a week ago, I was sitting in my house, like my one day off, and Dave tries FaceTiming me. It doesn't go through. Devin sends me a text, but like the video doesn't go through. It's just like one of those like winky face emojis, and I'm like, oh my god, I know what they have. And then they all start calling me. They're like, hey, we got killer whales here, and I'm like, no, I one day off. But it was like one of those encounters where like it's like perfect sea conditions, bright sunny skies, glassy water, killer whales hunting and spy hopping and breaching, and everybody was just rubbing it in my face. And the worst part was that I was supposed to be out there on a film project, but my buddy who I needed to film for was just like all over the place. He's like, oh yeah, sorry, I like totally forgot. And I'm like, what do you mean you forgot? You told me like 10 o'clock, and then he pushed it back to 11 o'clock, then he pushed it back to 12, and then he was like, yeah, no, we're just not going to go. So that was a bummer, but it was cool. The Condor saw killer whales. It was a CA-138s, and that pod is pretty cool because at least in 2019 they were confirmed 3 or 4 times in the channel within a month, and they've already been spotted twice. So we saw them, and then a fishing boat saw them on the backside of cruise. So maybe they'll be hanging around. So yeah, killer whales. And then like 5 days later, I was actually on the boat for this one. This one's pretty cool. Okay, right. So here, let me lay it out for you. We're rocking. We're in the channel. We're like,
Rocking
no, it was beautiful. We just left like the friendliest humpback whale ever. Like the thing was like tail lobbing like 5 feet from the boat. Super, super friendly. And it was actually the same one that just mugged us a week before. And he was like rolling upside down right underneath the bow, so you could see his tail and everything. Super, super cool. And he did it for like 2 hours straight. And so we were like, okay, like what do we do now? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, how do you continue on your trip?
Well, exactly. It's always tough. And it was early on in the trip. It was the first whale that we got on. So it just ate up 2 hours. And we were like, okay, like we can drive around now and find some other whales, but it's not going to top that, right? So like, okay, like maybe we'll take him to the cave. So like we start heading to the cave, and everybody loves Painted Cave. It's a hole in the wall, but everybody loves it. That's what we call it, the hole in the wall. We start heading out to the cave, and actually this is on a day that our galley girl, she took a vacation, so I was down in the galley. I've been in the galley in like 2 months, but I was down in the galley flipping burgers, doing my thing, and Devin came down to help me because it was so packed. We actually had like 80 people in the boat, so it was like a decent day for us this time of year. Well, this time of year it's slowing down, right? And so Dave calls me up on the mic. He's like, "Ernst, start to the fly bridge now," and I was like, "Oh, that's not good." Like usually when
Fired.
he does that, usually when he does that, it means like something's wrong, like something's not okay. But he would have called Devin because Devin was on deck that day. So I was like, okay, like maybe it's animals, like maybe it's the killer whales again, maybe. And so I run up there, and he's like, "I think I got something weird," and I'm like, "What do you got?" And so like we start looking at the binos, and it was a freaking sperm whale.
Was it spout coming out at an angle?
Whale. Yeah, it was coming out at an angle. It was so cool. I've seen one sperm whale, but I don't really count it. So I count this as like my first sperm whale. And it was a big adult male right in the middle of the shipping lanes. Super cool. He had that big old bulbous head. His spout was coming out the side. He was all wrinkly. We only got a couple looks at it before he dove, but still super cool to see a sperm whale in the channel. We were literally in like 600 feet of water. So
Wasn't there a cargo ship going by too?
There was a cargo ship. Like he was right in the middle of the separation zone, which is kind of scary. But sperm whale in the channel. I think Dave's been on the boat for 20 years and he's seen 4. So super rare for us. And I don't really think the California coast has gotten a lot of sperm whales this year. Right? Monterey hasn't really seen any, right?
I heard some on the hydrophone. Slater heard some on the hydrophone.
We've heard them, but I don't think anybody's had a sighting, right?
But that's just like, how do I explain it? It's just like the right place at the right time, you know, like their sperm. Yeah, but Slater and I heard sperm whales for 2 weeks straight and no one saw them. Obviously they were there.
Yeah. But like, I think like like usually like one place along the California coast a year gets sperm whales. Like, a year ago there was 2 off of Point Vicente for like a week straight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monterey had a couple, but like, I don't know, super cool. I've never seen a sperm whale, and they're super rare in the channel. So
Yeah, it's a cool sighting.
I know where
And
to hang out.
I did look at your photo because we were talking about the like formation of its back, and that it does look kind of funky, like around its dorsal hump. Yeah,
I looked at a lot of
Everybody
photos.
did.
Interesting.
I mean,
did you say that there's a whale that was similar like that?
Yeah, but not that extreme. The one that I saw, we also thought had kind of a weird posture, which then I was like, maybe that's just because of the dive behavior the day that we saw it, because in other encounters, it's not as pronounced and it was actually fluking, because that sperm whale hung around for like 2 weeks in Monterey. But your photos, it looks like a different whale for sure than the one I saw. And it does have a much more pronounced like thing going on with its spine. Its posture is very weird. So obviously it looks healthy, it looks big. So it's
I don't know. I don't know what a sperm whale looks like. So everybody was like telling me like this looks weird. And I'm like, dude, don't ask me. Like I have no experience with these things.
I hadn't seen your photo when you called me and you're like, I don't know, it looks kind of funky. And I was like, that's the thing, is like they do look weird. Like
yeah, no, they definitely look weird.
Having a weird back though. Maybe it's because that's like a big male and the females don't. I don't know.
No, I think something's going on with it.
It was a huge animal. I mean, it must have been pushing 60 feet. Like it was massive.
Yeah.
We only got a couple looks at it, and then it went down, and it went down without fluking, which was kind of sad, but still.
Yeah.
Super, super awesome. I don't think I'll probably never see a sperm whale on the channel again, but who knows?
You never know.
Never say never. Oh, they look so weird. They look like dinosaurs. They're so cool. And he has like these weird, like, I don't know, like barnacle something on his head. I can't really tell, but they're weird.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it on a bigger screen, because on my phone it was just like.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was stoked. I was screaming.
I don't doubt it.
All right, who's next? Cool.
I'll go because I have to.
Oh, he has to try to one-up me now. Let's see what he's got.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna one-up you. That'd be too easy. Come on, dude. I live in Monterey. Like cheat codes for whale watching.
Yeah, but have you seen a sperm whale this year?
I saw beaked whales.
Didn't think so.
You did?
Yeah.
This year or like this week?
In the spring.
Oh, no, I was like, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah. Anyways, it's been epic. We've had tons of whales. They did slow down for a hot minute. We had actually when I left to Catalina for those 4 days, I came back and there was only like 10 or 15 whales kind of spread out inside the bay.
Ooh,
only 10.
Oh,
it was spoiled. Like 30 when I left in the bay. So yeah. And then anyways, a few days later, we kind of went offshore and found the first big group. Some guy called in like 4 or 5 humpbacks, and so we went out there, like in a group. And so I went out there with Connor, and then we ended up finding those 4 or 5, and then he went 1 mile further and he called me in on 10. And so we had a group of like 10 plus whales, because some were leaving and coming in, but they weren't feeding. They were diving down. They were with sea lions. They were feeding, but they weren't eating at the surface. And then we left and came back the next day, and there was literally like 30 humpback whales out there. And we had a group of probably 10 to 15 like 15 or more lunge feeding. Like nice. Group of 5 or 6 would come up at one time on one side of the bay, and then on the other side, like 3 or 4, and then other whales would side lunge in the distance. Like there was an absolute feeding frenzy going on in some of the bluest water that I've seen. I mean, I've seen blue water in Monterey, but this was like that offshore blue, nice. Beautiful water. So yeah, we had really good lunch feeding, and I had someone that flew in from New Mexico to come on my trip the next day. And I said, all right, you flew from far away. We're going to go the distance. And we went 17 miles out there, and there was literally 4 whales the next day.
Oh man.
But all of those bigger whales that we saw in those groups, they were all like full grown humpbacks. They were all found in the bay the next morning. So they must have been like moved in somehow and like slid past everyone. Because now we've had dozens and dozens of whales lunge feeding between Moss and Monterey on like the 50 line. So kind of near the beach. In between 50 and
Yeah,
like
it's kind of
53.
it's kind of like a weird spot, but they do tend to gather up there.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
like
what it is about that spot.
between like 150 and like 300 feet of water,
Yeah,
or
yep.
sometimes in like 90 feet. Just depends on how far into the beach they go.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I had another day. So that day that Adam had killer whales, I talked to him on the phone, obviously, because he was stressing out and like so sad that he
so sad.
And then he also could have come up here and he didn't come up here. So it was like a double whammy.
It was like a double. Yeah, it was a double make me cry.
Wait, was that the day that you texted him and you were like, get up here, 15 whales lunge feeding in the group chat?
No, that was another day. I actually jumped ahead. So before that Adam, I was like, you should come up tomorrow. I can ask my passengers because they've come multiple times and they're pretty chill. So I was going to say, hey, could Adam come? And I forgot to ask them. And the next day we're out there and we had like great lunch feeding right off the bat in this like sunrise that looked like Alaska. I don't know what the heck was going on. It was like really like crazy white puffy clouds and blue yellow light. I don't know how to explain it, but so the trip was like already amazing to start off with. And I forgot to ask him if Adam didn't come up, and Adam didn't come. And then we go offshore and find a pod of like 6 killer whales. And so I was like, dang. And then I told them, I was like, man, my friend really wanted to come. They're like, oh, you should have had him come. I was like, damn it. So I texted Adam and I was like, dude, you don't want to know what I have. So we ended up finding like 6 killer whales, and we watched them travel, and I called all the other boats in. Well, right when 2 of the boats from Discovery got there, they ran into a pod of whitesides that they were bringing with them head on to the killer whales. And I told my passengers, I was like, I'm telling you, out of nowhere, all of these dolphins are gonna like fly out of the water and to go the opposite direction. And it like got super quiet at the surface, and we kind of didn't know where they were gonna pop up. And then all of the whitewater from all the dolphins, they take off, and just off our right side of the boat, we see killer whale chase a whiteside like 15 feet in the air, like easily clear, like plain as day. None of us got a photo, and I was like, oh, I felt so bad. Like,
I would have gotten it if I was there.
Whatever.
No, none of us. Dude,
Adam would have been like, phone, camera, drone.
Adam would drop his camera in the water if he saw it. I did get a photo of both the whiteside and the killer whale's tails.
So you have proof, but it's
I know, yeah, but it's like. And then, so just past them, like a couple hundred yards further, a killer whale does that, like, you know, where they lift their tail, like they porpoise, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Where
their head doesn't come up very far, but their back and their tail does.
Basically, they were like parallel with the water, but like 6-7 feet in the air. So he did this big launch and like was like an equal sign to the water, and then went back in. And none of us got that either. And that was it. They let the dolphin. You could see the one that they were chasing took off to the west, and they just kept going. So I don't know if they were actually just not hungry and they accidentally ran into them, or I'm sure they knew they were over there. Like,
yeah. One time I saw a group corral a dolphin, and then a private boater drove right in the middle of it, and they lost control of it. And I thought they would give up, but Emma chased it for 2 miles and finally got it.
See, I don't even know if they wanted to eat because they let it go.
Yeah.
And he was singled off by himself. The pod went like southeast, and I guess they kind of went like straight south, and that one went like northwest. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think they just let it go, but I felt really guilty. I was like, I should ask if Adam could come. But
that was just like double whammy. Yeah.
Not even all the boats showed up, and legit 2 more sequences later, it went from 0 fog to like the thickest fog you'd ever see. And
oh no.
And while that was happening, I told my passenger, I was like, to be honest, we already got the best looks we're gonna get. By the way, they went right under my boat and like completely T-boned us, went under and out the other side. And so that was before boats got there. We got like a really amazing look. And so I told them, I said, hey, let's like, these other boats are going to be here now, so let's let them get a look and let's leave, because I didn't want to chasing killer whales that are traveling just isn't that exciting to me. And so there was a whale, rod pulled off, we all pulled off, and there was a humpback breaching out to the north west, and so I was like, if it does it again, we'll go there. And so it did it again. So we jam over there, and as we're pulling up to rod on the Pacifica, the girl on my boat goes, it just fluked up like 30 feet from that boat. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I went around the backside of the Pacifica to get in line with him. And as I'm going around, it breaches him like seriously 10 feet off his bow and gets over the top of the Pacifica. None of us gets a shot again. And we're like,
I don't believe you. You're making this up.
I swear to God, you can. And no, and then so I pull up next to Rod out his window, and he goes, "Do you have an extra pair of pants?" Oh man!
Oh, I love Rod.
Oh,
everyone on the boat was like, "Oh!" Like their passengers were screaming, and it was again like a lot of epic stuff happened that day, and none got captured.
Nobody got it.
It's funny because the girl, I have to look what she said, but like she Venmo'd me a tip, you know, and she was just like flying killer whales, and it's like nobody got a shot, but like still the moment was so incredible to witness.
Yeah.
It didn't even matter.
Sometimes that's what matters most.
Yeah,
that's always what matters most. Just looking at it and seeing it.
But besides that, we've had lunch feeding up until 3 days ago. We had this, or up until today was the actual. Yesterday was the bad weather day, but for the last week up until yesterday, we had lunch feeding inside towards the beach almost every day.
Cool.
Like in the mornings, yeah. Not big groups, like groups of 4 or 2. A lot of mom and baby pairs that are lunch feeding.
I'm out unless there's 5 or more.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I told the whales, I said if you guys can't pick it up by October 14th, we're gonna have to bring some new whales in. So
yeah, gonna have to put you on the bench, bring some new players into the lineup.
You better group up.
Oh man. My sightings have not been nearly as exciting, but we did have some pretty rough weather the last 10 days or so. But we have had some good whale action. We've had a mom and calf pair pretty much every trip, Dross and her calf. And Dross is almost always like feeding. And so then like we babysit the calf, which is fun because it does like silly things. It rolls around, it'll peck slap, it'll breach, but it also will swim around with its mouth open, like so you can see its baleen, like a little alligator, and it'll like gulp the water, and like I think it's just playing with it, to be honest. It's like rolling around, and then it'll like bounce up and down a little bit at the surface, and then all of a sudden it'll have its mouth open and it'll be like skimming a little bit, and then it'll close its mouth and keep going. It's done it like almost every day. So
wow.
But we did have some dolphin sightings yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Atlantic white-sided dolphins. We actually saw 2 different groups. We saw one group like not that far outside the harbor, and then we saw another group as we were like finishing up with whales. They were like a little bit further down from where the whales were, so that was nice. But yeah, it's been kind of ugly out. Yesterday it was calm, but it was really rainy, and like we had thunderstorms off and on, and so like that was kind of a bummer. But the whales don't care; they live in water, so. But yeah,
whales don't care.
We'll see how it goes.
White-sided dolphins. Yep. They're a hot topic in the whale world right now.
Yeah, they are.
I keep seeing everybody talking. I keep seeing everybody talk about it, and then people posting Pacific white-sided dolphin pictures, and I'm like, is it just because nobody has pictures of Atlantic white-sided dolphins? Like, kind of the same species.
Yeah,
I think it might be confusing some people, but
I wish I knew a little bit more about like the like real time opinions of the people that live there in the Faroe Islands, because I just feel like it's not fair for me to like really comment or speculate on something that I've never seen or like fully understand the culture of. But like it was a really big hunt, you know, like 1,400 animals. That's seems like a lot, you know. But yeah, I'm glad to see them on my side of the Atlantic just doing their thing. And on yesterday, even though it was rainy, there wasn't a lot of wind, and so when we were with the dolphins, you could hear them whistling, and it like echoed up through the hull because it's a metal boat. And so like you could from like midship forward, you could hear them on both sides of the boat, which was really cool.
I don't know much about those dolphins, like because it seems like they're not necessarily migratory, but they are seen in different. There's much better. They're sighted much more in certain parts of the year, right?
Yeah. So like off of our coast, we see them in the
In
spring.
the spring, yeah.
And then we do get another little push of them in the fall. We also get a push of common dolphins in the fall. But as far as like other sightings around the North Atlantic, I don't know too much about it. I do know that there's like a lot of speculation that they probably just move like inshore and offshore. I don't know how temperature.
Whitesides, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like our lags.
Yeah,
like
except our lags, it's like Pacific white-sided dolphins seem more like it's a little bit more temperature driven, whereas with the Atlantic white-sided dolphins, I'm not sure that I've paid close enough attention to know if that's a thing. So like when it's
is their population like, I'm assuming they're pretty stable, I would assume.
I think so. I mean, I don't think they have any conservation concerns about them. I do know that off the coast of Massachusetts and New Hampshire is one of the easiest places to see them on a regular basis. But they are encountered even in like Iceland. And then obviously over on the other side of the Atlantic off the European coast. But yeah, I don't really know how much there is to know about them, but personally, I don't know a whole lot about them other than, size, diet, that kind of stuff.
Do they call striped dolphin Atlantic white-sided dolphins?
No, striped dolphins are different. They're more like a common dolphin.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird.
I've always wanted to see one.
So, white-beaked dolphins.
Yeah, white-beaked
dolphins look similar to.
Yeah, so they're also a Lagoranchus, I believe, or a Cephaloranchus.
Yeah, they have those in Iceland.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
I know dolphins. Because I missed them by one day when I was there. And the next morning they saw them. But the reason I asked you because I just saw this thing and it was like there's 3 different species of dolphins in Iceland. There's bottlenose dolphins, common dolphins, and then they're saying there's striped dolphin.
No, what? No, I don't think they see any of those in Iceland.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
I think they don't
see common dolphins in Iceland.
No, and I don't think they see
Atlantic white-sided and.
Yeah, white-beaked dolphins. I didn't even know they saw Atlantic white-sided there. I know they saw white-beaked dolphins.
Yeah. I would say maybe other like toothed whales, definitely pilot whales, killer whales, maybe harbor porpoise. They see sperm whales, humpback whales,
they don't see
minke whales.
There, huh?
No, I mean I think they've been sighted on the north coast of Massachusetts like a handful of times, like very rarely.
What have?
Well, because they see them
bottlenose.
They see bottlenose in Ireland.
That's true.
So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe one went way the heck across to the north. It's not that far up.
Yeah. Well, so the way the Gulf Stream like pushes across the Atlantic, the southwest side of Ireland has tropical plants. One, because there's like a vector for the wind pushes the seeds, but also like during certain parts of the year, it's a fairly tropical climate because of the effect of the Gulf Stream. But I don't really know how it moves around Iceland that well. I'm not that familiar with it. But I remember being on the southwest part of Ireland and be like, why are there jungle plants here?
Yeah, that Gulf Stream is warm. I remember living in Florida and like going in the water and it was like always super warm. And then when I came here, I was like, oh, let's go in the water. It's going to be super warm. Nope.
Wrong-o.
Nope.
Yeah, like there's palm trees in Southwest Ireland.
Super weird. Why the heck are they there?
Wait. In that whale watch company, whale watching Hagenes, they're in their captain's blog, July 25th, 2018. Fantastic days we've been having. We're seeing up to 10 humpback whales in each tour, along with minke whales, harbor porpoise, and even bottlenose dolphins. So they must have seen them. I don't think they would make that up.
Unless it's a translation error.
It's made up.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe not.
I know they actually have, because when I was there, they had like marine biologists and naturalists that like volunteers their summer there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they are pretty like educated on what they see.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt. I just, the only thing I would think is if it was translated from Icelandic, if there was no clean translation, but maybe they do see bottlenose dolphins. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Where the heck do
Or
they
you
come from?
know-
Iceland's like literally the middle of
Greenland
nowhere.
got 'em?
No, I doubt it.
They love just skipping their bellies across the ice. We don't even know it. You don't know. You never know. You never know.
All right, so for our like info topic this week, I just found this cool article from Hakai magazine, and it's a pretty short article, so I was thinking maybe I'd just read it. It says it estimates about 3 minutes. But it's about the lost whales. So it was written sort of just to recognize the whales that were targeted during whaling but didn't actually get harvested. So a startling number of whales were maimed or killed by industrial whalers and lost at sea. If the Basques were the first to commercialize whaling in the 11th century, it was the Americans who took it global. From the 18th to 20th century, thousands of whaling ships, the majority flying the US flag, scoured the world's oceans in search of cetaceans. The Americans' large ships allowed them to process whales at sea, harvesting the valuable oil, baleen, and ambergris without having to return to port first. Since they were paid by the whale, American whalers set themselves ambitious targets. Reaching them, however, wasn't always easy. Early industrial whaling was incredibly inefficient. Harpoons were prone to breakage or loss. Whales would fight back and use their tails to flood the whalers' small pursuit boats. Other whales would swim around rocks when harpooned, eventually prizing the weapon out. And, quote, all the labor would be lost, which hath often happened, lamented Frederick Martin, a 17th century British whaler. Some wounded whales would drag the whalers' small boats away from the main ship or run the line in a way that risked them capsizing, leaving the whalers with no choice but to cut the whales free. Some of these wounded whales would go on to live another day, but some would die and sink quickly when the lines were cut, only surfacing days later after the ship had already moved on. Most of the understanding of the scale of industrial whaling stems from accounts of whales that were successfully caught, tallies that rely on reports of oil or baleen sold at port. But Morgana Vihí, I think is how you say her name, she's Spanish, and her team at the University of Barcelona in Spain wanted to pin down the number of whales that whalers killed but did not catch. To do so, they visited the archives in the US and Europe looking for whalers' logbooks preserved in physical form or on microfilm. They focused on whalers who targeted southern right whales and sperm whales in the Southwest Atlantic Ocean off of Argentina and Brazil, which was a heavily exploited region. In total, Vihí and her colleagues read 255 logbooks covering nearly 150 years of whaling from the 18th to 20th centuries. In the logbooks, captains would write about quarrels and mutinies, missing their wives, but they also left detailed itineraries of boat launches, whale sightings, and vivid descriptions of successful and failed catches. Some captains recorded their catches with hand-carved stamps, and Vihí's team turned the diaries into data that could be analyzed to establish the loss rates for these two species of whales. The painstaking work was made more difficult by the effects of time and tricky language. She says most of the whalers were not so literate. The research showed that no journey went without losses, but in the early phases of whaling between 1775 and 1850, the losses were significant. Scientists calculated that for sperm whales, the loss rate was 1.1. So that means for every 10 whales caught, one was lost at sea. But for southern right whales, the rate was higher at 1.5. For every 10 whales captured, 5 were lost. After 1850, southern right whales started to disappear from the logbooks in favor of sperm whales. Researchers suggest that this could be a grim reflection of their population being driven to near extinction, which is a very likely possibility given whalers often targeted right whales' moms and calves. Over time, the loss rates for both species steadily decreased, reflecting improvements in whaling techniques and weaponry, such as explosive harpoons or harpoons with toggle heads. Technology was a lot less advanced compared to modern whaling. Nonetheless, this did significant damage to a lot of populations, says Phil Clapham, a cetacean ecologist and senior scientist at Sea Star Scientific. He was not involved in the study, but he did say particularly the slower whales because they were the ones that they could catch. The reconstructions are fundamental to guide current recovery efforts by telling us how far or how close the current populations are from their natural state, says Anna Rodriguez, a ecologist at the Center for Functional and Evolutionary Ecology in France, who also was not involved in this project. She says ignoring the lost whales tends to underestimate the historical population size and then translates to a less ambitious conservation goal. Something to think about.
Oh, it just makes me think about what it was like before we were like killing whales.
I know. I always wonder, like, let's go back. Can we go back to like 1500 and just see what the wildlife was like?
Oh man, there had to have been so many whales.
The story, I mean, you hear stories from so many different places that it was like there were so many whales, the air smelled from their breath, or you could walk across their backs across a body of water. Like, I want to see that.
I mean, there were so many anchovies and herring and like Adam so sad about that he just left the podcast. Adam's not here right now. I'm sure he'll join back. Maybe his internet went out or something.
Yeah. And then I just think about like, so you look at whaling logs, right? And you look at like summaries in guidebooks or like Marine Mammals of the World or whatever. And they talk about like how many whales were hunted in a certain amount of time. But it's like a double injury when you think about how the logbook didn't necessarily reflect how many whales were actually killed because not all of them made them onto the ship. You know what I mean? Like they didn't count. And so
when they say 1 to 5, 1.5, right? And they say for every 10 killed and captured, 5 were lost.
Yeah.
Does that mean they shot those other 5 that got away and they were injured?
Yeah. They made an attempt at 5 additional whales and didn't land them.
But they got hit by harpoons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you don't know if they actually died or not, but
yeah, but it's like let's say two of the 5 died. It's still an extra 2, or you know.
Yeah. Well, and then I would like to see their paper, I guess, if I could track it down at some point. But like, especially with right whale moms and calves, were they able to tell in the log that there was a calf and then they just like let the calf go?
Which means for every mom killed, the calf died.
Yeah. Exactly. So like, is that included in their number or not? I don't know. I guess it depends on how good of a log the whaler kept.
Think about that. If they killed 11 whales that week and 3 of them were moms, that means they,
there was 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that I think is one of the fastest ways to kill a population is to target the moms and babies, because like the baby's guaranteed to die. So not only did you lose a reproductive age female, you also killed her calf. So then my other questions I have, like thinking about this stuff, is like, okay, so there's whales that are dying and sinking to the seafloor at a higher rate than they normally would under non-hunting conditions. So like, what happened to the nutrient cycling in the ocean, right? Because like the deep sea is all of a sudden getting flooded with carcasses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all those benthic communities, like Osidax, are having their day. Like those worms are like, let's go. There's so much food down here. But like, that's so short term. And then all of a sudden, like, there's so much less food now in the deep sea habitat. Like, is there a way to track that? Can we figure that out? Can we ask these worms? Like, I don't know.
All those worms
You probably would be able to figure it out with, samples from the benthic layers.
Well, basically, they went through like after the whaling era, they went through like a depression. The worms did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there was no whales around.
Yeah. And then, so then you have more nutrients going to the deep sea. So like potentially sequestering some carbon, but then you're losing all your nutrient cycling at the surface. So like your surface carbon sequestration process through whales fertilizing algae, like that's getting less and less and less each year. So like, what the heck is going on between all the different layers of the ocean? Because they are connected. It's just like not always a direct relationship.
Dude, does that mean that before the Industrial Revolution, we were destroying the climate through whaling? Boom.
I mean, yeah.
Boom.
But also then did we further perpetuate the climate impacts of the Industrial Revolution by continuing to commercially harvest whales more effectively? Is that measurable? I don't know.
My main question is that we really only know whale populations before the whaling era based off of whaling logs, right?
Except for a few,
like we can except for a few species maybe, but like we estimate, right, 300 to 350,000 blue whales, right? But if we're using that data off the logs that they successfully caught, what about the whales they didn't successfully caught? Is that number more towards 500,000? Is it more towards 600,000?
Yeah,
you know, like
I don't know.
If you take the data off of that article, right? If it's 1.1 or 1.5, you know, it could be 600,000. It could be 500,000.
Especially if you do it times 2 for all the moms.
Yeah, if moms weren't accounted in that statistic, then it's even more.
So if that is the case, you know, it's honestly even more of a miracle that blue whales are still alive today. That's
more of a miracle that we're alive today. It doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
Like after we killed all the whales off, they should have just been like, you don't deserve the planet.
You know what? You lost your right here.
Seriously, but it honestly shows how important whales are. Like that's insane.
And I like we're just still barely coming to grips with all the things that whales do for our environment.
Yeah, we have no clue. Like that one paper we talked about where like how with whales like and bears, you know, or like whales and trees, you know, like that's crazy. And just like taking that amount of biomass out of the world is just like, what?
They're literally machines for the environment.
Yeah,
they are.
They're ocean gardeners.
Like that day that we had those 30 plus whales, they legit lunge fed for over 4 hours. And I had that big group, and then Kate went 1 mile further and had her own group of 10 that had that whale Batman in it. You know, Caitlin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in that group, and they were lunge feeding, but not as good as the ones I had that were lunge feeding. So she came back. No, like they were her whales originally, anyways. Yeah. But I mean, like they weren't lunge feeding as good as these ones, like consistently. And so she came back, and then she stayed longer than me that day. And for over 4.5 hours, they lunge fed back to back to back to back to back.
Dude, it's like that one day we had them lunge feeding for 8 hours. Literally, we were there for 8 hours.
And it was just a couple whales though, but this is like, you know what I mean? Dozens.
Yeah, but still, like, crazy,
which just means guaranteed
crazy.
Another mile further than that, there was more. Another 2 miles further than that, there was more. Like, oh, by the way, that day that we had those whales, a fishing boat, some guy named Joe called in. So basically, I was at 48 and 05. Someone at 38 and 05. So 10 miles south of me, there was another group of 20 plus whales down south that same day, lunch feeding, I guess. But no boats were out there except for a fishing boat that was looking for tuna. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Why don't we just all get together and push the anchovies into the middle somewhere?
Dude, I'm waiting for that.
We're not going to control nature. We're going to let nature do its thing.
Nope. I'm going to put a net out in the end of the canyon and push it
Oh my God.
Just for one day, dude. We'll get after the looks, call it a day.
Oh my gosh. It's not about you.
It's about our passengers, Caitlin, on October 14th, 15th, 16th, okay?
Damn. Wow. It's stuff like that blows my mind. Just like, and that's why I feel like so fortunate to like see these animals on an everyday basis. Like, it truly, it is incredible the effect they have on the oceans, but also like the fact that they're still here today. Like, it's pretty wild.
Oh, today I forgot to tell you guys about a really fun little passenger I had. This little boy was on the boat and he was so excited about the whales. And it like, I had a pretty tough week on the boat. And so it was like good to have, even though it was like horrible weather today, it was good to have him on the boat and be so excited because he got everyone else excited. And he was like, he felt the motion of the boat and he's like, what is that? And I was like, that's the waves. That's the power of the ocean. And he was like, it has big muscles. And I was like, it's so strong, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and the whales are so strong too.
Oh.
It's crazy how someone's energy like that can like change the whole boat.
Yeah.
It really only takes one
really
person
does.
to be super positive on the boat and like be into it to get the rest of the people like
Yeah.
yeah.
I told him at like halfway through the trip, I could tell he was like having an effect with everybody on the deck. And I was like, man, we're just going to give you the microphone.
It kind of, that happens with a lot of things. Like it just, even when making cocktails on the Ocean Explorer, it was like, if the first person came in, it was like, I want a vodka cranberry. The rest of the room would be like, vodka cranberry.
Yep.
So can we harness that energy and just get people to like save the ocean or what? Like, wait, the ocean has big muscles. We need to save it.
Or if you were selling photo packages, Adam, you've probably seen this, where someone comes in, they're like, "Oh, I got enough on my iPhone." If the first person says that, you sell like none. But if the first person's like, "I'll buy it," you don't even have to show me, and they like buy it, then it's like everyone buys it.
Or if people are like, "Oh my god, those are absolutely amazing," the whole boat just like flocks over.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
We're such cyclical animals. Like it's so funny.
The oh my gosh, the hive mentality. It's like it's for the best or the worst. Like, oh man.
Photo packages.
Speaking of which, we're throwing in a photo package for those of you going on Whalenerds Weekend.
I mean, we might be a little bit rusty, buddy. We might be a little bit rusty. I haven't done one in a while.
I will not be including my photos because I have hardly taken a photo of a whale all summer. But
I'm not taking any photos that trip.
What do you mean? It's on my shoulders?
That's all on Adam.
Oh,
focus, dude. Video camera, still frames. Get it together.
Yes,
if Adam ever gets an R5, so he can be my friend.
Oh my
God. When my freaking film check gets made up to my photography thing instead of
okay, but I thought you were like Lumix's live because you got like some free stuff.
Yeah, but now I feel like I have to do Canon. Even though they gave me some free stuff. I'm just gonna send them. Free stuff.
You better send it back to them because now you're saying this on the podcast.
I'm gonna give it back.
They didn't give it to you, did they, or did they let you try it? What?
What's our secret whale of the week?
Anyway.
Adam's gonna get grounded, guys.
Oh my gosh.
I think our secret whale of the week should be the sperm whale. Because I saw sperm whale and we talked about sperm whales.
Or lost whale.
Dude, that's the other thing is that we were talking about. It was a while ago, but like, you know, I feel like humpback populations have rebounded pretty well here in the Eastern Pacific. Blue whales, we have one of the strongest blue whale populations in the world as of now.
But it's still a fraction of what it used to be.
Exactly. Obviously, it's not what it used to be, but it's like where are the sperm whales? Like, again, like we probably see sperm whales somewhere up and down the California coast once, and I get that it's like a sighting thing, like it might be that, but also it's like we have boats out there all the time. Like, did the whalers really go? I guess they really went hundreds of miles offshore.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm saying, if we go hundreds of miles offshore, where are all the sperm whales? We're gonna find a group of 3,000 sperm whales
where squid are chilling in thousands of feet of water, always like 2 miles deep, chilling, eating turkey burgers.
If whalers can find them with their 1,700 style boats, why can't we find them?
Because their boats were way slower, so their odds of a surface encounter were better.
Dude, that's our problem. We're going way too fast. 11 miles an hour on that.
Slow down, bro. It's a no wake zone.
The whole ocean?
Yeah, exactly.
Sperm whales probably hear you from 2 miles away anyway.
And they're like, see you later.
Yeah, but there's whaling logs of them killing them here in Monterey.
Okay, but remember that Whitehead paper that we talked about where the sperm whales had like a cultural transmission of evasion strategy?
Yes.
Maybe they're all like, you know what, we're all set. We don't want to see these things that make this noise. Like, boats. We're good. Like, and that's just their policy.
Why though? Come back. I want to see you.
Like,
dude, okay,
listen, they're nothing but trouble. I'm out.
Where are all the sardines at in Monterey Bay?
They're gone.
They're anchovies.
Okay, so the same thing. They either are somewhere else or just like the sperm whales. Probably hang out.
Where? Tell me where they are. I want to go see them.
No, they're playing hard to get.
So many little holes on the map, Adam. If you
Slater, come on, let's go to the Davidson Seamount and your freaking tiny 150 horsepower outboard that if it dies out there, we're dead.
Jeez, dude. Yeah. Anyways, if you guys want to book a trip with me, trips.
All the way up to the Davidson Seamount. Could
You're
you
really
imagine?
selling it here, Adam.
Adam, it's only 60 miles, dude. I can hit that in like an hour. Okay, 2 hours still.
Yeah, but then what if we're out there all day and then the engine sputters at like 6 o'clock at night?
Well, then we call our moms and cry, dude. It's only like it's not even that far off the beach near San Simeon or one of those places down there. It's really just far.
Yeah, you
from
shoot
Monterey.
off north of Morro Bay, and it's
Yeah, if we could just load my boat off the beach, we're chilling.
now you're gonna beach launch it. What is happening?
Off of Big Sur.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right underneath the Bixby Bridge.
Oh
Yeah,
my
just
god!
we'll just huck it off the bridge and then
Yeah, just get a pulley,
It'll land right
block
side
and
up.
tackle, bro. Just shimmy it on down there.
Just like go up that dirt hill by the by Bixby Bridge. Okay,
Get
then,
some
and just
speed.
Let it go.
Get
Just
some
let it-
speed going.
Unhitch it from the trailer and
the
just
trailer just
Qualified
All right,
captain.
let's go.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 92. You are amazing if you made it this far. The secret whale of the week is the sperm whale. And if you're not following us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or any of the social platforms, it is
MySpace.
Whale Nerds.
We don't have a MySpace.
We should
Right.
make one.
Maybe
I
we
think
should
I'll
make
bring
one.
it back. I was playing a video game the other day and I asked some of the kids, I was like, do you guys have MySpace?
Anyways, you can follow us at Whale Nerds, or you can go to our website and check things out there at thewhalenerds.com. And we hope to see you on our trip coming up soon.
Bye.
And it says bye.
Bye.